The Diamondbacks were never really a team that has had a history of being consistently good. They were pretty solid in the early 2000s and even had some stretches in the 2010s. But the reality is, they have not amounted to much besides winning one World Series in 2001. Ever since Paul Goldschmidt got shipped out, the Diamondbacks' future really seemed uncertain. Well, amidst of a rebuild, they got back on track fairly quickly. In 2021, they were 52-110. In 2022, they were 74-88, and last year they went 84-78 and exceeded all expectations and played in the World Series through a wildcard spot. The fact of the matter is the team went from 110 losses to a World Series in 2 years. Even though they lost it, it is crazy to think that they even made it in the first place. Part of the reason they even made it to a wildcard spot was because some teams like the Cubs collapsed in the last 2 weeks of the season. You would think you'd see a huge improvement early on this year. But the thing is, they've been kind of off to a slow start with some glaring slump and team issues. Injuries have not been kind to them either, but right now they sit at 18-21 and are in 3rd place in the NL West. But the offseason moves they have made clearly have the arrow pointed at another playoff run. In regards to signings, they made some pretty major ones. They inked Eduardo Rodriguez to a 4-year, $80 million deal, and this is a great move since they needed pitching in bad. But he is currently on the IL, so it'll be some time before he actually pitches. They also signed Jordan Montgomery to a 1-year, $25 million deal, and that has a player option for another year at the same exact price. This is a decent deal, and I think he's pretty good, but also at the same time, I do think he's overrated, and people overhyped him quite a lot when they're talking about contracts this free agency. They are also keeping Lourdes Gurriel Jr. around with a 3-year, $42 million deal. They have Jack Peterson on a 1-year deal for $12.5 million, and Randall Grichuk to a 1-year, $2 million deal. They acknowledged the lack of pitching on the Major League squad, but also made a move for future pitching depth. They sent Dominic Fletcher to the White Sox for minor league pitcher Christian Mena. After that, they boosted the offense and got Eugenio Suarez from the Mariners for Carlos Vargas and White Sox legend Seby Zavala. Overall, the Diamondbacks had a great offseason in my opinion, and made some great moves to supplement an already solid roster. Pitching was their problem last year, and it is again their problem this year. Last year they ranked 20th in ERA with a 4.48, and so far they ranked 21st with a 4.31 early on in the season. A big problem is Eduardo Rodriguez is hurt and will miss some time, and Jordan Montgomery signed a little later, so he's behind schedule in regards to other pitchers. The only pretty good arms in the rotation at the moment are Zach Gallen, who is a 2.84 in 7 starts, and then Merril Kelly, who is a 2.19 in 4 starts. And again, the injuries hurt them bad, because Kelly is injured and the reports have him missing at least a month, which is a huge blow to the staff. But on the bright side of things, they got Paul Sewald back 4 days ago. He's a huge piece of an otherwise bad bullpen. Since his return, he's 1 for 1 on saves. But while he was gone, you had Kevin Ginkel take over the closing role, and he did pretty well. He converted 5 of 7 chances with the 2.93 ERA in 15 total innings. Besides Ginkel, Ryan Thompson has been good with a 1.2 ERA in 15 innings, and Justin Martinez has a .84 in 10 innings. Other than them, the bullpen has not been very good. I expect the Diamondbacks to be very active during the deadline in terms of pitching, maybe a starter, but for sure a bullpen arm. They need some help, and without it, they might dig themselves into a deep hole. Because currently they have 3 top 100 prospects, but none of them are pitchers. They really don't have many pitchers in the farm either, which is the only bad part of their roster and farm construction. Another note too is you got guys who aren't really getting too much playing time in an overcrowded outfield, such as potentially Alek Thomas, but I think you could see Jake McCarthy getting traded before that. They got a lot of pieces that they could trade off and build up their pitching, so I guess we're going to see what happens. At least the offense is elite, because they currently have the 6th most runs scored in all of baseball. They have the 9th best average, the 7th best on base percentage, and they rank 19th overall in home runs. The offense would be better, but reigning Rookie of the Year Corbin Carrol is in a slump. In 145 at-bats, he's hitting 200 with a 293 on base percentage, and he only has 2 home runs. Last year he mashed, hitting 285 with a 362 on base and 25 homers along with 54 stolen bases. He was electric. The key to the offense being ranked higher than they are is through what Corbin Carrol can do. I think he bounces back and does well, but this is never a for sure thing, considering he's a very new to the league in comparison to other players. Ketel Marte is also a legitimate star in the league, and he's on fire this year, hitting 295 with a 345 on base and 8 homers and only 156 at-bats. Christian Walker and Lourdes Gurriel are also doing very well with 7 and 5 homers respectively. New player Jock Peterson has hit 4 homers with a 421 on base and only 86 at-bats. The thing is, the offense is very solid, and it'll only elevate them to help them get to where they need to be. Obviously, the issue without question for this team comes down to pitching. It needs to be addressed because they just don't have guys that are good enough to be solid on a major league level, and the injuries are just kind of derailing them and very early on. D-backs definitely have the making of a playoff team, but the thing is, they could easily not make it if they do not address this. There are a lot of good teams in the NL, and there are 3 in the NL West by itself. So here's the path to the playoffs for the Diamondbacks. First and foremost, they're not going to win the division. That is the Dodgers. I don't think anyone can take it from them. They're probably going to have the best record in baseball come to the end of it. But here's the thing. You got the Padres, who are kind of surging. They're doing very well, right? The Diamondbacks, I mean, they're kind of in the midst of it. But the thing is, when you look at the NL Central, you got the Brewers and Cubs, who are completely certified. The Reds probably rally back a little bit. The Pirates calling up Skeens, that probably gives them some energy, right? So potentially what? Maybe 4 playoff teams there. You got 3 in the West. Now you're working with 7. And then you go to the East, right? Then you got the Braves or the Phillies. One team is going to win that division. Whoever doesn't win it is taking a wild card spot. Now you have 9 pretty good teams in the National League. Like, what they did last year with 84 wins taking that playoff spot, 84 is not going to cut it, I don't think, this year at least. The NL is a lot better, and it's going to probably take, honestly, maybe 86 to 88 to even 90 up just to take a wild card spot. It's pretty competitive. The NL is definitely way more competitive than it was last year, in my opinion. All I know is you should get the popcorn ready, because the way the NL is going to finish with the wild card slots and playoff berths, it's going to be very exciting. Diamondbacks should be a fun team to watch, and if they were smart, which it seems like their GM is, they're probably going to address a lot of these issues, and I do see them making the playoffs. But as easily as they could, they also might not. It just really comes down to the pitching, because the offense plays, the pitching does not. Anyways, go ahead and comment your thoughts on the Diamondbacks roster below. Thank you for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. I'll see you guys later.